Yo, hey, what's good, people? This is episode 65. This is Sports Debate Tuesday. I got my boy Rob McLean, and the episode starts right now. Gotta edit in the mute. Don't matter none. You know why? Cause hated I love it. The underdogs on top. And I'm gonna shine, homie, until my heart stops. Envy me. I'm Rap's MVP. And I ain't going nowhere, so you should get to know me. What's up, along with my man Rob? Keep it. McLean. I am yours truly. I'm Jason DeBeers. This is episode 65 of Sports Debate Tuesday. Rob, fixing my chair. It just keeps getting lower. What the hell? There you go. Oh, and I rise again. Great weekend, huh? Bellator outshined the UFC in so many ways. They had some good, great main event. Rumble Johnson's back on the scene, dropping people, starching people like he, picked up where he left off. In fact, if you remember where he was before, he was like a heavy 205. He was a shredded 205 this time. He looked cut, dude. He looked king cut. So where Bellator outshined the UFC, where the basketball games had a little bit more intensity because the playoffs are around the corner, right? This is May 16th, I think is the last week. And I think the 16th to the 18th are like play-in games, which maybe you could educate the masses on. Where draft picks, working out with the teams, kind of gives you a picture of how they look. So now we can reevaluate some of these people. You could have been up from Friday to Sunday, 24/7, and gotten your fill, continuously fed your sports needs. So really, really, really great weekend. But first things first. Rob, we go to the NBA. Knicks, big win over the Clippers. Wow, they look good, huh? We're gonna definitely have a discussion about who our MVP is and who our Coach of the Year is, and we'll whatever, we'll do our thing. Lakers without LeBron. Big win over the Suns. Suns are the top seed or second seed. I believe the Jazz are number 1 and 2 respectively, chronologically. Rob, the question is, cut through the chase. Yak. Which win was more impressive this weekend? Was it the Knicks over the Clippers, or was it the Lakers over the Suns?
I think it's, one of those cases where neither one of them are the worst. It's just someone's the better. So they both great games. I think that they both had telling things in them that the Lakers are still very deadly even without LeBron. That the Suns, they're not as good as their record. You can be the second seed if you want, but at the end of the day, one team's going to come out of the West. So you're going to have to beat teams that have either beaten you before, or have a formula to beat you, or have experience in the playoffs that you don't have. So I think it just shows kind of the fragility of that top tier 2 West teams, of the Jazz and the and the Suns. And then when you look at the East, I just think it shows, the Knicks are definitely a real team. Top 10 in defense, top 10 in offense. You can't really, that's some types of things that the Warriors are doing back in their dynasty. They don't have the talent like the Warriors has, not even close, but they're still doing what they need to do to be an efficient team and to play efficient ball. So, I mean, I don't think either one of them is more telling than the other. I think it's just a lot of information of how great this playoff is going to be, where you have some of the better teams coming from the bottom, and some of the maybe not so experienced teams in the top flight positions that have the chance to make a deep run in the playoffs. So I think the Knicks are a real team. I think that for years to come, this is the time where you're going to say they started to build, and they're going up from here. So I think it's in the season. I think it's probably more important for the Lakers, but long term, or even how far they're going to go this season, I think it's really telling for the Knicks that they beat one of the best teams in the West.
Rob, keep it. McLean. It's supposed to be a debate show, right? And everything you said was right. It was equally impressive for both, and it's as far as significant impressions are concerned, it's just a fun discussion because there's no loser. They both literally won. Of course, they both, more than figuratively, they literally won over the weekend. We're pre-airing a little bit, so bear with us, people. And to the question, which one was more impressive? I mean, gun to my head, or maybe no gun to my head, I got to go with the Knicks. Ain't no debate about it. I mean, we're supposed to be a debate show, but I think we find ourselves, once again, for the umpteenth time, agreeing. We should just call this Sports Agree Tuesday. And I'll tell you why. The Lakers playing the Suns without LeBron James. I mean, it increases the Suns' chances of winning, but in our heart of hearts, we always knew, even without LeBron, with good coaching and with a healthy AD, no one's surprised that the Lakers beat the Suns. The Knicks, as good as they've been and as good as what they can become, we still a little bit more surprised that we've beaten these good teams. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like a depleted Clippers team. It wasn't like, like Kawhi didn't play. Kawhi did have a hand injury, but it doesn't. He's tougher than people give him credit for. He's not soft because he's soft spoken. I mean, the guy's they're elite athletes. Elite athletes play with injuries all the time. Injuries we don't know about. Injuries. You're an elite athlete. You probably never went to one tournament 100%, and if you do, you can't even remember that day. So. Yeah, look, can't disqualify Davis, man. 42 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists. Caruso and Pope put up 17 each. Everybody did their part. Schroeder, quiet night for him, but it was a night for him to be quiet because they didn't really need him to produce. They were a true team without LeBron. They had to be a true team without LeBron, with AD leading the charge. Everybody knows their role. If it's AD's function to score, he score. But the Knicks, man, 12-3 in their last 15 games. But you look at the schedule, all right, they beat this team, they beat that team. And finally, when they played the Suns a week ago or whatever, see, that's what happens when they play good teams. So everybody wouldn't have been, they'd be more surprised if the Knicks won and less surprised if the Clippers beat them. It's nice little run. They don't have any real stars on that team. They're, so I heard someone even actually call them a cute little team too. And I think the Knicks are like, like mentally speaking, like, did they just call us cute?
Right.
12-3. Rose, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. He led the charge over my potential MVP candidate, Randall. Randall, we'll talk. Maybe we'll have an MVP discussion later, like who's in there or whatever, because there's so many players who are worthy who missed so much time this season. Like Embiid miss a lot of time. I think right now we're having Greek freak fatigue, so we might not. They might not vote him. And Curry lit it up again, 49 points on Sunday. I mean,
crazy.
But you look at both teams right now; they're both 38-30. It took the Knicks everything they got to get there, and it took the Lakers everything they didn't have to get there. Right? Lakers last 4 games, Knicks, Rockets, Pacers, Pelicans. The Knicks last 4 games, Lakers, Spurs, Hornets, and Celtics. So Knicks have a little tougher finish. They might finish equal, they might finish behind, but I can only tell you this. One is 4th in their conference, one is 7th in their conference, and with this whole play-in rule, the Lakers might be in trouble if Curry decides to have a good night, 4 nights out of 7. They're going to need LeBron, injured or not, to get back in that game. So I think we both agree this one's the Knicks. All right?
For sure.
Cool. Hey, you stayed with your team, man. You stayed with your team. I abandoned ship, and I'm so upset because the Knicks turned into this team that I as a sports fan, worship. I have this romanticism where my hero is not someone that should be endowed with superpowers from another planet. They're someone that you can relate to as an everyday guy. That's a blue collar team. No real stars in the team. Go ahead.
Hey man, it's never too late to come back.
They're calling me like crack cocaine right now because I don't like teams that have drama. I leave teams that have too much drama. When I turned in my Knicks hat, I mean Oakley got kicked out. And then they made Spike Lee. They made a 60-year-old take the long way back to the guard. Made him leave, go all the way around the block. Come on, man. And now the Nets I'm a Nets fan. Now they got drama.
It's funny because it's the same thing with that hat on your head right now. Like I love the Yankees because with the Mets, man, it's nothing but drama. I like the Giants because with the Jets, man, it's nothing but drama. And so the same thing is with the Nets. Like I feel like it's so superficial. They've been trying to buy people to come there for years and years and years, and now they finally bought the right guy, and now they're buying another guy and another guy. It's very superficial to me, and I feel like the Knicks. I am glad they've done it the right way. I still don't feel like it's anything of James Nolan's doing. And I think he should.
All he got to do is stay out the way.
Yeah, and all he's going to do is inevitably unravel that team for a big trade for a superstar. Because if you remember before Carmelo Anthony, this is the exact look of the team. Exact look. It fit what we needed to be. And if we might not win a championship, it's okay. But the like you're saying, people admire a good team, good basketball. It's been happening in Chicago for so long. They haven't won championships, but they played good basketball.
They're fun to watch, right?
And that's where Tibbs came from. It's just, good basketball, defensive coach. And if we have offense, we'll let that shine.
For a decade, though, the Knicks weren't fun to watch. Even that team that made the playoffs, they weren't fun to watch. They just let everybody score on them, and I'm like, why are we still giving that? Why are we still buying tickets? Why are we still giving these people our money? I had it. I literally had it up to here, up to the visor cap, where I had to go straight Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn anyway. I was like, okay, that's my borough. My borough got a team. I could get on board with them. That's why I was born and raised. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. So, yep. Hey, Knicks more impressive if we had to pick. Both equally as impressive, but Knicks more impressive because I find them more surprising. Let's move along because we got a lot in the section of quick question. So we keep this ball rolling. We move on to mixed martial arts. Not a heavy weekend, right? I mean, me and you are hesitant to even watch any events. Probably weren't even aware there was an event until last minute because there were so many bouts canceled in the UFC because the people had an illness. This one had an injury where Bellator took over. Anthony Rumble Johnson was back. He got challenged by, I got to get this guy's name, Jose Augusto. It's the first time I ever saw him fight. And Augusto had a 6 slick submissions, takedown defense, and he dropped Johnson. I never seen Anthony Johnson drop, and the referee let it go a little bit and Johnson recovered, which is even more impressive. Juan Archuleta against Sergio Pettis was the main event. Great. I mean, for the MMA purists, stand up and watching the transitions, it was so great. So mad at the UFC this weekend. Before we get to our actual debate question, so mad that Michelle Watterson, the karate hottie, and Rodriguez had to save at least the end of this otherwise show where it looked like I didn't know if neither fighter wanted it or both fighters wanted it, where it just didn't look like a good fight. So I looked like guys were worried about wins instead of going out there. Dana's least favorite kind of card. That I stuck with it, and I ended up watching Watterson and Rodriguez, who I only saw for the second time, win by unanimous decision over the karate hottie. Watterson, still proud of her. A name like the karate hottie, you don't even have to win every match to keep your brand. You know what I'm saying? Girl got a Wikipedia page. We good. So the question, because 2 of these fights, one got pulled. Benoit missed weight at 125 and 129 in the flyweight division. And Fajeda missed weight for 155, 160.5 pounds. All right? And he fought. Now, the question is, Rob, I'm going to go first. And for the fans who came here to hear more Rob's voice than mine, bear with me, but don't get undressed. The question is, should there be added weight classes? Or should there be stronger punishments for people not making weight? Rob, I'm going to go first. There should be stronger punishments for people not making weight. I know the boxing has these ridiculous light cruiserweight, middle cruiserweight, heavy cruiserweight, all these weight classes, and you never really see a boxer miss weight. Yeah, only in mixed martial arts, you see these guys trying to suck down. But for me, Rob, you only have 2 jobs, all right? One job is to show up for fight day, to fight, and the other job is to make weight. Now, if you want to be the Twinkie champion on your own time, then contract yourself for a heavier weight class. These people are trying to suck down weight because they think they can rehydrate, be a heavier version of themselves, coming bigger. And because everyone's doing that, the other fighters feel like their hand is forced to do the same thing when they don't learn their lesson. George St. Pierre, he lost his weight in training. He doesn't even miss weight. So I don't like it, because if you look at the win-loss record for the people who don't make weight, and the other guy's not going to say, I don't want to fight, right? Because people think he's a puss, right? They end up fighting, and the guy who missed weight is 24-4 on wins and losses. So the guy who missed weight, who usually misses weight, they forfeit 30% of their purse. But for their brand and to move up in the rankings, to some of them, it's worth it. They got sponsors, right? I mean, some of them are broke, but some got sponsors like, you know what, I missed weight, but I got this win and I'm moving up in the rankings. So Ferreira, thank God. I mean, I don't cheer against people, but I'm glad he lost. You missed weight by 5.5 pounds, which means, and if they miss weight by 5.5 pounds, Rob, that means what? That means they were mad heavy to even get to that, to get to the miss. So my punishment should be one of two things. Forfeit 80% of your purse, meaning you basically either fighting for free, or if you miss the weight, scrap it. The fans will boo it, but I'm telling you, if you scrap it, you do all that training, you don't even get show up money, never mind win money. I'm telling you, people are going to make that command decision to either hire a nutritionist to make their weight, fight in the upper weight classes and suck it up like a man up or woman up, if you will. But we cannot have these fights scrapped and people look like they're coming in on a what do you call it? A dehydration drumstick. The guy had to be carried to the scale. That's why the Athletic Commission scrapped Benoit's fight. So the question, Rob, and you already know my answer. I'm pretty adamant. I'm pretty clear about this. Should there be added weight classes, or should there be stronger sanctions or punishments for people who miss weight?
Well, I'm all for more weight classes. I mean, I only think that's going to grow the sport. I only think that's going to make the opportunity for multiple belts to be won. And that creates more pay-per-view buys. That creates more, just clout for these guys to make these super fights, as opposed to, just working up the rankings. And now the rankings are totally, opinionated. There's really no system to rank them, or point system to really get them to a certain place, or know how many fights to get to here. It could be Cosmont coming unranked, fighting against a top 15 guy, and then automatically he's top 10. It's just like, well, how does that even make sense? So at the end of the day, I think consistency with the rankings, because again, pound for pound fighters, there's basically a blind vote, and then a list comes out, and that's who's the pound for pound in the world. It's just like, at the end of the day, I think there needs to be a little bit more clarity in how that, if the fight world's going to legitimize themselves, I think there needs to be clarity on how they rank their fighters and how their fighters move through the ranks, and also how they rank their pound for pound best, because those really do mean a lot, not only for endorsements for players, but for fighters, but for, just to build their brand and to have those pay-per-view, have those ads made for them so that they can build their pay-per-view. But getting back to the weight classes, or the stiffer punishments, for me, I feel as though the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to stifle the growth of fighters coming into the fight world. So I feel when we're talking about the pay, I think the pay should stay the same, because there needs to be the draw to fight and the ability to sustain themselves, at least even if they make a mistake, even if their mistake is premeditated, they're still within the business and they still make the business money. So they think they're still owed money for putting that training in and for, uprooting their lives to make it, a professional life for them. But I think that, like you're saying, the company, and this again goes to the rankings, it goes to what's happening behind the scenes, needs to be more stringent on, if you miss weight, this bout may be an unofficial win or loss for you, the person who lost, who didn't make weight, so it's like they'll get paid, but there's no up or down risk take. They're not going to lose anything, but they're not going to go up further. So they're just going to stay in the rankings the same, win or loss, and that's kind of how it is. Or they don't go up. Even if they win, they don't increase in the rankings. If they lose, they may go down. So it's just a high risk situation for them if they miss weight, as opposed to be about the money or to be about just scrapping the fight totally. Because like you said, you don't want to lose interest from the fans. You don't want to lose interest from the fighters. And there's other leagues coming up. So, the UFC starts cutting out the fighters' legs. They can easily just go to another place, create their own fighters only league. There's a lot of options out there. So at the end of the day, I think there needs to just be a little bit of cooperation, and it'll be easy to make something happen.
Yeah. So, Rob, because your argument is so compelling, I'm kind of on board a little bit, and I pose this question. Let's say before I ask this question, do we both agree the biggest gaps in these weight classes is 155 to 170, right?
No, right.
170 to 185, and then 185 to 205. That's 20 pounds. Well, let's say they restructure 155, 165, 175, 185, 195, 205. With that, if you are an owner, or if you were the athletic commission, or whoever combination of the two runs this, do you think if they ran it like that, there'd be less weight misses?
So yeah, but I also don't think it should just go interval like that. I think there really does need to be some separation, especially around that 160 to 205 range. Like, let's say, add an extra division. Like move 185 down to 180, put like a 190 and a 205. Like have a smaller interval range, maybe other places. Where the fighters are smaller, because it's harder to lose pounds when you're in a smaller weight class. When you're up a little higher, you can kind of fluctuate a bit more. So I think it's more, maybe not like the same intervals going up and down, maybe like a 5 to 7 pound weight change in the lighter weight classes, and maybe like a 10 to 12 split. But 20 pounds, is just outrageous to ask it, and that's the range of, when you're talking about an athlete, at a certain height, 5'10" is, I would say like maybe on the small side for, an athletic person. They can range from, a person that's 5'10" can range from 170 pounds to 220, 240, so I think that, talking about an average height of human beings, that range there needs to fluctuate a little bit heavier than maybe, let's say, guys who are about 5'7", 5'8", so I think height and, the mass you can put on that height has a little bit of a factor in how big those weight classes can have a difference in.
100%. In fact, I'd make an even stronger argument for having more lower weight classes, right? Because as far as cutting weight, the bodies are so small. There's right, where you going to cut it from without actually,
right,
cutting someone's arm off or hand.
Right.
So, very, very good argument. Congratulations to Anthony Johnson. Moves on to the semifinals, and I think he faces the 205-pound champ from Russia, whose name escapes me. Ryan Bader's still in it. He's going to fight Corey Anderson. That's going to be the other semifinals. That's a light heavyweight Grand Prix, and that's going to be down the line. 2 weeks from now, Chris Cyborg makes her debut in Bellator, and I'm definitely interested in doing that. That's on the 21st. That falls on a Friday. So for this weekend, we got a little bit of housekeeping to do before we get out of MMA. We got UFC 262 coming up, so let's take a look at this card, okay, and let's pick some winners. So Rob, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler for the vacant lightweight championship.
Is that you want me to answer that?
Yeah, man. That's why we didn't get all dressed up for nothing, man.
Oh man, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna go with Oliveira because I'm a UFC purist. Let's say, I love that he came from where he came from, how he came up, but man, Chandler is deadly. So we'll see, man. I'll pick Oliveira for now because I think this fight could go anywhere. So if it does, I like Oliveira.
I go Chandler by stiffening / starching. Tony Ferguson fights Beneil Dariush. Is this T Ferg's comeback fight, or does Dariush pull this out? I go Ferguson.
Yeah, I got Ferguson.
All right, cool. Jack Hermanson against Edmund Shabazian. Dangerous, dangerous fighter, dude.
Mm-hmm. I got to go with Shabazian.
Wow. Me too, I guess. Caitlin Chukagian versus Viviana Araujo. I go Chukagian.
Yeah, same.
And I go Barboza over Shane Burgos. So Jacare fighting Munoz, huh? Look at that. Huh?
Yeah, Jacare.
Andrea Lee fighting Valentina's sister.
Yeah, it's a good card.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna see it. Maybe we have a watch party. Maybe we get that second Fauci ouchie, man. We could have a watch party, right?
That's right.
Get some Chinese and watch the fights and get Greg Faulkner over. So, all right, that's it for mixed martial arts, and now we're gonna go to beach volleyball and indoor volleyball because it's a wheel house. Hey, congratulations, Hawaii beat BYU the same way BYU got to the finals. BYU served, oh my goodness, they served Lewis off the court. Gabby from Puerto Rico was just a serving and hitting machine, and Hawaii made it look like child's play, man. I mean, I always said beach volleyball, the thing that divides the higher open level players from the lower level open players is the serve, and for indoor, the thing that divides AA from open are the middles, but you got served to space like that. I haven't seen anything like that since that dude from Ohio State, when Ohio State was like repeat champions. That dude from France, and the outside hitter, man. So, congratulations to Hawaii. I don't know if there's an asterisk by their season because I know there were a lot of game cancellations. But at the end of the day, all of the best teams that deserved to be in the playoffs went. Lewis was my dark horse pick, but I mean, separating the men from the boys, I'll give you the semifinals and finals. So congratulations to Hawaii. So now I want to talk about beach volleyball. I know you didn't get to watch a whole lot of it. I know you peeked at the finals and the semifinals and this and that. LMU made a big stink, right? They beat LSU and UCLA the same day to stay in the winner's bracket. USC knocked them out of the winner's bracket. UCLA climbed out of the loser's bracket to face USC, and USC sooner or later talent took over, as well as good coaching. Congratulations to Dane Blanton. Congratulations to Gustavo, Gus, who's like kind of the man behind the plan, right? The secret of their success. And Dane, you know how I always say, like, people have talented players. I always tease them. I call them like okay mechanics in a room full of Ferraris. Dane's a little bit more than that, because when you're favored to win, that's pressure too, right, Rob? Like, if anything other than winning the NCAA is a fail, I mean, that's not a no pressure situation. That's a pressure situation, LSU had some pressure situations too. I mean, they were the #1 seed last year, and they really wanted to, finish what COVID ruined. And so congratulations this time, finals. Big up to John Mayer, the team no one was talking about, going in, and Stanford making the NCAAs actually left me scratching my head. I mean, but them as a 6th seed over Cal Poly until TCU even more so. But it is what it is. Good, good for Fuller, good for Hector, right? TCU, 8 deserving teams. Florida State, of course, the beast from the East. So with that being said, we're going to do an individual award things, and I consolidate all of my awards to 3 major categories. Rob, these are my awards. Let's start with Player of the Year. That's right. Player of the Year, that is Tina Gradina. Okay, she is the Latvian. And look at her, accept this sacrifice, oh ball of darkness, as she serves cross court. You heard of Eddie Guerrero, the Guerrero brothers, saying we lie, we cheat, we steal. Nope, she digs, she blocks, she kills. And there she is. And by the way, she won a bid in China to go to the Olympics. So she's representing her country, Latvia, to go to the Olympics. Automatic bid, good for her. She's going to keep the Lion King company. Look at that. She covers, she cuts. She leaves the net. She comes back to the net. No problem. Got a block. Good night. Walks away like she shot the sheriff. Give me a hug. Tina Gradina, Player of the Year. Now, Pair of the Year. Listen, There are a lot of great pairs. Tina has a great pair. You look at UCLA, they had a great pair, okay? Now, you're always looking for the perfect set. You're always looking for the perfect serve. You're always looking for the perfect swing. Great transition play. But God made only one thing perfect in college beach volleyball, and that's these two girls' win-loss record. They are 35-0. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they did not lose a match. They lost 4 total sets in that 35-0 record, so good pairs, but pair of the year, there shouldn't even be a debate about this. That is Kristen Nuss, that is Taryn Clough. And coach of the year, John the Mayor. When he started that program, he used indoor players. They were 6-13 their first year, 22-14 their second year, 21-9, eventually won the WCC champions in 2019, repeat championship this year in 2021, upset LSU, upset UCLA, makes it to the semifinals, the team that no one was talking about, coached by the coach who does more with less. Congratulations, John Mayer. You are my coach of the year. I love that dude. Listen, big up to Carissa Cook, super sub. Betsy Flint had a baby. Carissa Cook's there. And baby bro, the mini-me, John Mayer Jr., Joseph Mayer. Actually, his kid brother, Joseph Mayer, was his other assistant. Rob, if you saw these two players, if you saw these two guys, that's mini-me. You know, you're like, I'm John's brother. You're like, I know that.
Yes, you are.
I know that. So that's kudos. Anything you want to say about the champs, this and that? You've seen Tina play a little bit, right? And
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And you worked with John or whatever, and we work with Gus Gustavus as much as we can. So all positive except for one thing: MPSF games, playoff games. For men's indoor volleyball and flow volleyball, think we're supposed to pay to watch volleyball when MIVA and EIVA and the Big West are showing their shows for free. I think that's shameful, man. How MPSF, with respect to USC, with respect to UCLA and Pepperdine and all those indoor teams that you got there, or Stanford, how about y'all win a title? How about get back on that champ stuff before you start charging people to watch your show or watch your channel, okay? The last 10 champions, Rob McLean. It's the year of repeat champions, so maybe Hawaii's going to repeat next year. But 5 of the champions were MIVA, Ohio State 3 times, and Loyola Chicago, who, by the way, one of those beat Division II Lewis in the finals. So, and that large bid and the conference shows that MIVA is represented. Big West, UC Irvine twice. Long Beach State repeat champs, and now Big West Hawaii, who finally won one. They were in the finals and they were in the semifinals a couple of years ago, so they've always been in the championship picture. One year they got ripped off, in the at-large bids, like Irvine got in instead of them, and Jason Olive, if you out there, I know you blaming Harvard for that, but that ain't their fault. They won the EIVA, they beat Penn State, so hey, I'm willing to pay to watch them, but y'all need to get back on some champ stuff before I start paying more money out of my pocket, right? I mean, the UFC was bad enough, right? MMA, they want you to pay for DAZN. They want you to pay for ESPN Plus. They want Fox Sports. I actually paid for the extra channel on that. I ain't giving people more of my money till y'all show me some champ stuff. Show me some champ stuff. What you think?
That's the truth, man. I mean, yeah. We be getting, EIVA on the East Coast for free for forever, So I don't know how they can't make it work for them. But yeah, there's been not too many MPSF champions, so I have to agree with that.
The last 10 years, 5-5. And the one before that was Big West. It was Irvine, and the one before that was Penn State. Get on some champ stuff. Then give me a call about my money. Because I don't know what you heard about me. Because you can't get $1 out of me. To try to light no balls I can't see. You know the rest. All right, man. Enough giggling, man. Let's have a little fun with some horse racing. And I bring you to shame or not to shame.
Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame. Shame.
Okay, let's go to this. Let's do that. And let's go Rob McLean. What's up, bro? What's up, man? So, Rob, to shame or not to shame? The horse for the Kentucky Derby I can't stop laughing. Medina Spirit failed a post-race drug test. Picograms again. Rob, to shame or not to shame?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say about that. It's a shame, I guess, Yeah, an animal being, drug tested for not being, clean is pretty out there. But I'm sure it happens more often than we think, whether it's, horse racing, equestrian. There's a lot of money in horse racing and horse riding. So I really don't doubt that this happens more often than we think, honestly.
Rob, I'm so glad we both doing this inside the minute because we talking about picograms again. We haven't talked about picograms since John Jones. And since everyone's talking about picograms, I think finally the people who are cheating on these drug tests have finally found a way to get ahead of the science and ahead of the doctors, where the only thing you're going to find are picograms. Now, they say picograms, Rob, is a grain of salt in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, right? So I don't know what the hell that even means. That means maybe that means like picograms are supposed to be there, right? Or maybe that's what's left when they trying to cheat. So I suspect that the people who are cheating found a way to get ahead of people with that. But when you start drugging up a horse, and everyone mad at the damn horse, the horse is like, I didn't ask to get no needle in my horse hind parts, right? To try to win a race. No shame on the horse, shame on the people sticking their needle. I mean, you ain't gonna shame a horse. We can't shame no animal for being an animal. That's stupid. And it's weird. I came unprepared for that, So, all right, Rob, we back?
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
To recover. So, Rob, we're finishing off with a quick question, all right? This section is called Quick Question. Quick Question. All right, Bobby McGee, quick question. Can the Knicks beat the Hawks if or when they meet each other in the first round of the playoffs?
Oh, for sure.
I do. I think the Knicks can beat them 4. I think they beat them 4-2. If the Knicks win, quick question, can they beat the Nets or the Bucks?
Not a chance.
Right. Yeah, I don't see that either. Quick question, when healthy, is Anthony Davis the best big man in the NBA?
I mean, it depends on if you classify Giannis as a big man, but no, I don't think so.
Me neither. I got to go with Embiid. I mean, every week I pick Greek Freak, so I'm contradicting myself. But
I mean, Jokic looks fantastic with Jamal Murray out too. I mean, offensively. Oof.
Yep. Quick question, is Tom Thibodeau Coach of the Year?
Yeah, I mean, he's right there with Monty Williams, I'd say.
I go yes. Quick question. Is Randall, between these 4, who do you pick for MVP? Randall, Curry, Jokic, Lillard, or Embiid?
5.
Embiid. Yep. I pick Lillard. I pick Lillard though Curry got 4 games to change my mind. Quick question. Which rookie has the best chance of making the playoffs? And here's the picture. Let's pick between one of these 5. Thank you, ESPN.
I mean, with them playing?
Yeah, without them playing, right? I go 49ers.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'd say Justin Fields. I think Fields has the most realistic chance of actually playing and making a sizable impact. I think Mac Jones is just he just needs more time to develop into a full grown athlete, I feel like.
Yeah, me too, man. You got to hit me with that one. Yeah, Fields, because the Chicago Bears were a playoff team, before he even got there, and he's so mature as a quarterback, and he's, as far as like hitting his throws and timing plays, if they keep people off of him just for a little bit, he's gonna murder some people. He's gonna do better than everyone thinks, and I cheer for him. And Ohio State hasn't produced a really good NFL quarterback in a while, and they've always been really good team players, but this guy's a real quarterback. Quick question: does Mac Jones take Cam Newton's spot before the season's over?
I think so. I do.
I think not. I don't think so.
I just think with Cam's body, he ain't gonna be running like that. And then if he's one dimensional, I think by the end of the season, if they're not having a great year, yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And Bill Belichick,
he's looking for it.
Yeah, he ain't that loyal to nobody. He's loyal to winning. He'll give you the hook faster than me fishing for cod at Montauk Point. Quick question, obvious question. Should Sereni retire? I'll go first. Yes, I saw him fight this weekend, and there's some people you want to retire because they want to keep their legacy, like BJ Penn. I think he hurts his legacy as much as Silva. But this dude, I think he needs to retire because when he gets hit, it just looks like it's getting closer and closer to permanent damage. I mean, you got 2 kids, man. He ain't fighting for the money. We know that at this point, right? That McGregor fight alone was enough for him to live comfortably.
Sure.
But so
that 35 seconds against McGregor.
I know, but he didn't throw a shot. He didn't get to. Well, he threw a kick. It got blocked, and McGregor got mad and kicked him back in the head. So should he? Or you think he's got one or two?
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I think it's just his time, and I honestly would say that he doesn't need to retire, but he should not be on the UFC roster anymore. I mean, I don't think he really stacks up with a lot of guys in the division anymore.
Right. Quick question. The Browns say they are not interested in Aaron Rodgers. Is that them being honest or politically correct?
I think I'm being honest because they have to look at what they have. And this is going to kind of the Justin Fields things we were saying, is that you don't need a franchise quarterback if you have a team already. The guys that need a franchise quarterback are the teams that don't really have somebody that's leading their team. If you have, a defense, a Khalil Mack, you don't need, an Aaron Rodgers to run your team. You just need a guy who can play quarterback.
I'm with you.
The same thing.
I'm with you.
I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So same thing for that question. I just think, the Browns, they have Baker Mayfield. They got to think about paying Baker Mayfield before they're thinking about trading for Aaron Rodgers, who at max has 3 years left, and then maybe he goes and does something else, or Baker could be for the next 10 years. And maybe he's not the greatest quarterback, but he's still good enough where they can build around him and make a team. And they have that team already. So it's just dumb to blow something up to bring in Aaron Rodgers to make him feel better. That's the way I
got to go with you. I go more honest than PC. Look, it took all those years for these personalities, to have chemistry and everybody know people's intricacies and quirks and all that stuff. All those years to get used to each other, just to have to pay more money and maybe possibly trade the whole damn house to get someone who's who looks impatient with whose patience level is running over on his own team. Nah. There's too many flags. There's too many warning signs about over the quarterback we both like. So I got to go with you. It's definitely honest. They invested in Baker. He's delivering, right? They won. They got past the first round. They beat Pittsburgh, which is something, on a road game. So, quick question: which of these two divisions is better, the AFC North or the NFC West? Which one?
Probably the. You said NFC East? NFC West. Yeah, the NFC West probably still.
East.
Yeah. I know, right? Come on. Yeah, you still got Seahawks, 49ers. That right there is enough just for me.
Quick question. Which conference, pick any conference that you think is going to send 2 teams to the playoffs in the NFL? I'll go first. I'll go NFC West. They're always going to send 2. Actually, I think both conferences are going to send 2 teams.
What is it? AFC South?
Yeah. Oh, Houston and okay.
No, what is it? You got the Saints and what's it called?
The NFC. Yeah. Yeah, Saints. Drew Brees retired. I don't know.
Saints and Bucks. I just think that they have a great team, and I think that Brees has always been their distraction. In all honesty.
Yeah.
So.
Well, with 7 teams going to the playoffs, right? The question becomes a little bit easier. I say NFC West, even though I know the AFC North has 4 great teams: Pittsburgh, even Pittsburgh on their worst day is going to back in. Cincinnati's not going to be bad forever, even though this year they might need another year. But so I would say Ravens and Browns, or Ravens and Steelers. Now, which conference is only going to send one? Say it with me. The NFC East.
Hey, I might go AFC East. I mean, Dolphins, they could do it, but they could fall apart. Who knows what the Patriots going to bring, the Jets or what. And then, Buffalo Bills, baby.
Okay, quick question. Is Russell Westbrook first ballot Hall of Famer?
I honestly don't think so. But what it really is, the Hall of Fame, because when you're talking about the effect that a player has had through your community, I think that before, I'm not saying there hasn't been anybody in Seattle before, but the effect that he's had on that city, with the 12th man and just creating an environment where honestly it's been feared for a long time. Whether it's the Legion of Boom. Oh, you said Russell. I think you said Russell.
I probably did because I'm an asshole.
No, you good. I think I'm on
Russell
on the sheet.
Westbrook, NBA.
Westbrook, first ballot Hall of Fame. I mean, no.
Okay.
But does he get into the Hall of Fame? Absolutely.
Eventually, yeah. I go first ballot. He ties as of right now he tied Oscar Robertson's triple-double record, and this is airing on Tuesday, so by the time you guys wake up and see this, he probably already broke it. Did get an MVP, did make a finals. I don't know. I mean, look, I won't cry if he doesn't. But I do think he deserves the nod. It depends on who's nominated with him in that class.
But first ballot, I wouldn't say so. That's what I'm saying. I think he's still a Hall of Famer. I just don't think he's an automatic lock first ballot Hall of Famer.
That's reserved for the best of the best of the best. And could be him, but could not.
I mean, I even think KD has, because he still has stuff to prove. I think he went to Golden State and got gifted to championships. So at the end of the day, KD can be considered first ballot, but I don't think he's first ballot. I think he's a Hall of Famer, but I think if there's other people, if there's enough people in his class, he could be pushed down,
Yep. Was Luka's foul intentional? the nut shot.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But I think a lot of people, he's kind of just getting back at people now. He's old enough in the league, and he remembers how kind of people tried to treat him as a young kid coming in, just trying to, play jokes on him, do anything to kind of get under their skin.
And he's a big dude now. Montrez called a bitch ass white boy.
Yeah.
That was him?
Yeah. That was on him, I believe, yeah.
Why are you gonna mess with them Eastern Europeans, man? Next thing you know, they put you in a guillotine and you swing until you fall asleep. You don't even know why. You don't even know why your carotid artery is blood flow. Don't mess with whatever hood you grew up in. Don't mess. Bullets, bombs, and bloods, okay, in those Eastern European countries. Don't mess with them kids. Don't try to punk them kids. Now, for me, I thought the shot was a foul, but where his location wasn't. I think he got pushed, and he instinctively just turned around and flailed his arm, and it's not I don't think he's that accurate. I don't think he, the guy that he nut shot was 6'1", too, so that means you had to swing low street chariot on that one, boy. So... last quick question. Are the refs not calling fouls for Zion because he's bigger? Is he suffering from the Shaq effect?
I mean, I don't call it the Shaq effect. It's funny that people even call it the Shaq. I call it the LeBron effect. And I don't think he's suffering from anything. I think he's twice the size of any human being on that court, like Shaq, like LeBron was. And what you should be talking to is the people who actually defend against him. Just this is the thing that broke my mind, because when Paul Pierce was talking about LeBron James being one of the hardest players to defend, he would say, literally, you could not get his hands off of the ball. The guy is so strong, you could literally hack him with a full arm swing, put your arms up and hack all the way down, and the ball won't move. The ball won't move.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, they should be calling fouls. Maybe they should be calling harder fouls for those harder fouls if they're not going to call the lighter ones, because it doesn't seem like it affects him as much. Because that's really what a referee looks at. They see, if they move him off balance, because if you got a point guard that bounces into let's say a center, the center's not going to feel it. It's not going to affect him, but it still may be a foul if that same point guard bumps into another guy, knocks him off balance, and puts him into the ground. So at the end of the day, it's still the movement, or how much it affects that player during that play. So I do think it is a bit unfair, but it's the same thing like saying, oh, well, I'm 6 foot and that 7 foot guy is shooting the ball and I can't get there. Like, it's a sport. At the end of the day, if you're getting hacked, go through it or do what all the other NBA players do. Like, if you get hit, you have to kind of act it out a little bit. That's just, if you act like you're not getting affected by the play, the referee can't say, oh, you're getting hacked. Like, it's just what the point of the game is. So I think
that's why I said this quick question for last, because I knew there was a conversation.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think what's going to happen is Zion can't just bully himself in the paint, because if you watch, all he does is bully himself. Like, there's no 15-foot turnaround jumpers. There's no, off the glass, finesse move. There's literally in the paint every single time, bully the guy down. So if you're going to play that style, just like Giannis was playing the last 2-3 years, he now has this turnaround 15-foot jumper, kind of move around, play around a little bit, Euro step left, right, that finesse game instead of the power game. Because, man, I'll tell you, Zion is one of the most powerful and quick people you'll see. But at the end of the day, how do you stop that? You stop that by just blatantly fouling him or, slapping at the ball. At the ball, things happen. And, he's putting up ridiculous numbers. So I don't think you could have a guy like David Kiffin really saying that he's getting unfairly treated with fouls. I just think this is the way the game is now. It's a softer league, and you have a guy who's a tougher guy playing in a softer league. He ain't getting them calls. He's running through people. Yeah, you're not going to get calls. I'm sorry, it's never going to happen.
Well, that's the blowback, right? That's the drawback when you when the officiating and when the rule changing and circumventing of the rules favors the offensive player, just to make the league more exciting. You got to take the good with the bad, right? You're not going to call offensive fouls when like people like him are booty bumping people, or when Westbrook is dribbling with one hand and takes the other guy and basically just stiff arms the other guy and literally knocks him down with his free hand. You're not going to call offensive foul on that because you're trying to make the league more exciting and not stop the game. That's got to work both ways, right? You got to give the defense something. So, it's unfair, but such is life, and he's got to grin and bear it. And unfortunately, he's got a fractured hand. He's out indefinitely because of that,
Yeah.
And that was the warning. It's just too bad.
I'm telling you, it's just all he has to do is have a little bit of finesse game. Literally, look at Giannis 2 years ago, 3 years ago. All he did was try to back people down, and all they did in the playoffs was just put people in the paint. Teammates got pressured to make shots. He doesn't win. But if Zion can beat his guy and then pass out, or he can, hit just a 15-footer, not 35 feet, 10 feet behind the three-point line, just, anything on the free throw line. But they're literally putting him on the paint, on the block, as a 6'7", 265-pound guy. Their guys are bigger. I'm sorry, like 7 foot, 280 pounds is still 200 pounds, to 20 pounds heavier, no matter what you put it as. So
no doubt. Cool, man. So, hey, listen, it was supposed to be a quick question, but I made sure I saved that one for last because I know it's something we wanted to get in depth about, man. Rob, you got all up in it, man. That's a quick question, guys. But before we go, two things. One, congratulations to Carmelo Anthony. He actually is now 10th on the all-time scoring list. That happened right after the other episode we did, so we didn't have a chance to cite that, even though I did put it on the news feed last night, later on. So congrats, big up to Anthony, who somehow resuscitated this game. He seems really happy with the Blazers. You got Lillard, who's a Portland guy. He ain't going nowhere, not even for more money. He's loyal and I think that's all Carmelo Anthony wants. He just wants a little loyalty back, and he found a good partner, found a good situation, and I hope he stays there until he retires or maybe even passes someone else on the list. But before we go, I wanted to talk about Tom Thibodeau, okay? Because this is highly, highly ignored. And Rob, bear with me on this, right? when I was coaching in the CUNY conference, this small conference in New York, I was a head coach at City College, and some of the coaches come up to me and they say, it was Ray Bello and Justin Stack who were at Hunter, and they said, Jay, who you think should get Coach of the Year, right? And of course, I think it's always me, right? Because I'm the guy doing more with less, right? Their first winning season, their first postseason invitation. But I said, no, it should be Eder Matayer from City Tech. City Tech had a combined like 6 wins in like 3 years, and he had his first winning season. So Justin and Ray tell me, and I'm getting somewhere with this. Justin and Ray tell me, well, you know, Kevin Edwards is their setter. He played on the Trinidadian national team, right? But he's kind of like an on-court coach. So you think Eder should get Coach of the Year because, you know, this guy's like an on-court coach too? I said, oh, maybe not. But I said, I got a question for you. By that rationale, does that mean Kevin Edwards is a conference MVP? And they're like, I don't know, and this and that. And I'm like, see what I'm saying? You put both in a category where you're not going to talk about him, and I didn't like that. Zacharias got MVP that year, but I'm like, we just totally glossed over the fact, and their names are not remembered because you didn't have the guts or the audacity to say this guy did a great coaching job with only one player. You using the players being so good as an excuse, right? But at the same time, you don't want to give that good player MVP. And that's what's going on with the Knicks. I love Montel Williams and I like what he's doing, but I really hope he gets Coach of the Year because at the end of the day, the only thing anyone remembers is who won and who didn't, you know? And if you say he shouldn't get Coach of the Year because Randall's having the best year of his life, then give Randall MVP. You don't snub them both. Don't shun them both. Yeah, so right, you could say Paul is like an on-court coach, but you don't want to give Paul MVP either, right? So, I mean, it's a tricky situation. But so I wanted this, before we go, kudos. Whatever happens, I hope Thibodeau gets Coach of the Year.
Same.
Rob McLean, is there anything you want to say to this mass population, to these 11K people who have been supporting our show every week? Stay happy, stay healthy, y'all. Stay happy, stay healthy. I like it. The Russell Simmons of our Sports Debate Show. This is Rob Keep It McLean. I'm Jason DeBeers. This is episode 65 of Sports Debate Tuesday. We love you guys to pieces. We out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.